Okay, guys, today we're gonna focus on different aspect of our communication behaviors, which is the nonverbal messages. So when we want to pose influence on other people, especially in the context of interpersonal communication, we often spend much of time and effort trying to come up with an appealing verbal message, but somehow neglect the nonverbal aspect of the communication. And actually, the nonverbal communication plays a very important role in the process of social influence. Think about the simplest situation. If you want to be liked by other people, you may want to put on a big smile on your face. But if you want to be intimidating, you might frown and have a poker face. Clearly, if nonverbal behavior can be best used along with verbal messages, we can achieve the optimum persuasion effect. So today we will take a look at what nonverbal behaviors are out there and how these nonverbal behaviors can be used to pose influence on other people. Specifically, we're going to look at these four big categories of nonverbal behaviors. The first one we call it kinesics, that refers to all the body movement we've got, including the way we stand, the way we sit, and our gestures. The second one we call it haptics, that it refers to all the touch behaviors we enact with other people. The third one, proxemics, that is the personal distance or personal space you keep with other people. The fourth one, it is vocalics, and sometimes we call it paralanguage, or a lack of any voice or audio. That is how we deliver a message, how we use our vocal cues to deliver a message. We're gonna look at each of these four communication nonverbal communication codes. The first one, kinesics, like I said earlier, it refers to all the visible body movements that communicate meanings. And this can include eye contact, our facial expressions, and our body gestures. Let's say for some reason you are feeling very vulnerable today and would like to seek for some support from your friends. So when you tell your story to your friend, your story are leaning forward, maintaining eye contact with you, and pat your shoulder from time to time and hug you when necessary. All these gestures would definitely make you feel warm and being supported, being listened. But think about what if your friend is crossing his or her arms, keeping a distance from you, checking time from time to time. All these nonverbal gestures would make you feel you want to stop the conversation because all the body movements, all the gestures are conveying a message that your friend is being impatient and uninterested in your story. So we can see that all these body gestures, the body movements, do play a very important role communicating people's attention, interest, and their feelings or even thoughts given an issue, given a topic. And today we're gonna look at two primary body movements. The first one is eye contact. The second one is our body movement. First, the eye contact can help communicators to be more persuasive. While a textbook described a study that investigated the influence strategies used by street beggars when they attempted to get some money from strangers. So, as a part of this study, 36 street beggars, they were interviewed by the researchers, and several of them mentioned that even before asking for money, the first thing the beggars tried to do was to establish eye contact with whoever was passing by. So for them, this eye contact, especially this initial eye contact, to a large extent determines the success of asking for money. So that is the main finding regarding this eye contact. It helps communicators to be more persuasive. So next time, if you want to influence other people, if you want to gain some compliance from your friends, your families, you may want to maintain eye contact with your communication target. And second, we want to talk about the body posture. So posture can convey two things. The first one is immediacy, and second one is power. And this will be on the exam. What kind of two things can posture convey in a conversation? Immediacy and power. So let me explain these two terms. Immediacy refers to whether you are interested in this conversation, in this issue. And the other one is power. Who is in charge here? Who is playing a dominant role here? And who is more like a subordinate or plays a more submissive role? Let me show you one picture here. So you can see that this in this graph, there are two people. By just observing their body posture, the way they sit, can you tell who is more interested in this conversation and who is taking charge, who is the boss here? Clearly, we can see this person, he is kind of crouching here and he is leaning forward. Apparently, he is more submissive in this conversation and he is more interested in this conversation. Whereas this guy, he is in a really relaxing and expensive gesture and it seems that he is the boss here in this conversation. And of course, compared with this guy, he is less interested in this conversation because he is a little bit kind of laying back. Again, my point here is posture can convey lots of information, such as whether people are interested in this conversation and who is taking a dominant role in this conversation. And next, I'm gonna play you guys a really interesting movie clip from the show Lie to Me. And this is the opening scene of this show, and I really like it. So from this show, you can see that people's facial expressions does reveal a lot of things, including people's feelings and thoughts. So take a look at this video clip and enjoy it. So we can see that this expert, this microfacial expression expert, he was able to use, detect and use lots of really subtle and micro facial expressions to tell whether people are lying or not, which is, I found it's really amazing. I hope you guys also enjoyed it. So next I'm going to talk about the 4 types of body movement. They are amblers, illustrators, regulators, and adapters, or sometimes we call it self-touching behaviors. Let's first focus on the first two for this moment because they are easily confused. So first, amblers. Amblers are the substitutes for words. So they are the body movements that have specific verbal translations. And usually these verbal translations are universal and are shared and can be understood by lots of people. For instance, let's say if I ask a little girl, how old are you? So this little girl, instead of verbalizing her age, she gave me this her palm with 5 fingers out. So this body gesture or this body movement is an ambler because she is using this body gesture to substitute her verbal message. So I understood, oh, she is 5 years old, even though she didn't verbalize anything. So in reality, we have plenty of these body languages, such as we have the hand gesture, okay, peace, and you rock. So think of these amblers as a nonverbal way we use to replace or substitute our verbal messages. And what's the function or how does this ambler help in persuasion? Well, if we have some kind of hand gestures about the movements, as a replacement for words, and this can help us foster our audience attention and also help them to remember these messages. So again, these emblems help foster attention and retention. Next, let's move to these illustrators. Well, illustrators, on the other hand, do not replace the verbal messages, but they would create a visual image to add on to or support the verbal message as such. Let's go back to the scenario where I ask a little girl or little guy, how old are you? And this time, this little guy verbalizes, I'm 5 years old. At the same time, he took out his hand and holds up 5 fingers. And for this time, this hand gesture is an illustrator because it provides a visual support of the verbal message. It illustrates the verbal message. So in persuasion, research showed that these illustrators can help make speakers appear more effective and composed. So we can see that in public speaking, in some persuasion speech, people always incorporate, other speakers always incorporate some hand gestures, some body movements to appear more attractive and more composed. And third one, we call it regulators. These are the body movements you make that would regulate or manage the flow of a conversation. For example, you nod your head or you maintain the eye contact to indicate that you are following what the speaker is talking about. And we may want to lift our eyebrows and frown to indicate that we don't understand this point. And we want to have more explanations or maybe have some questions. And sometimes we use this body language to show or to let our communication partners know that we're not quite interested in this current conversation and we want to go. For example, shifting our eye focus to other places, checking the time, looking at our watch. That is the regulators, the body movements we use to manage, to regulate the conversation. So if we can use these regulators in a good way, and this can help us to show the interest in this conversation. Last one is adapters or self-touching behaviors. And this includes all the body movements we do to make us feel more comfortable. For example, if your nose feels itchy, you may want to rub your nose to feel more comfortable. And some other body movements include scratching your arms, picking your nose. And remember, this is the only body movement which may have a negative influence on your persuasion effect. Some research suggests that the use of adapters is associated with less persuasion because these self-touching behaviors or these adapters are often seen as a sign of anxiety and a lack of composure. Okay, so we talked about these 4 types of kinesics. There is a typo. And usually these first 3, they were positively associated with the persuasiveness. So which means that if we can appropriately use these first three body languages, this can make us appear more convincing and make our messages more persuasive. But the last one, adapter, that is the only body language which may pose some negative influence on the persuasiveness of our message, because these self-touching behaviors are usually considered as a sign of anxiety or a lack of composure.